Okay, so I want to make some healing potions for my rogue, which you are able to do from the beginning of leveling alchemy. Before I do that, though, let me show you where I farmed herbs, because I do have herbalism maxed out. So, and as a Culteran, I get 2 extra points in herbalism, or in professions. Gathering professions, I think, is what it. Jack of all trades. Yeah, skill in all professions increased by 2. So, for what good that does. So I started out leveling my rogue, actually. Herbalism on my rogue. She does herbalism and inscription. And I was mainly focusing on Hollowfall and Isle of Dorn. And the other two aren't really all that easy to play, and I don't particularly care for the Anubian zone and the Regnine Depths. I've tried to farm in, and it's just not the best to try to gather stuff in when you're trying to fly around. So, Isle of Dorn, Hollowfall seems perfectly fine. You seem to get everything, at least with Herbalism. You seem to get all the same thing from all the same zones. I did at least look. It doesn't seem to change. So, Herbalism will gray out around 75. And before I did any of this, I did go and make a profession tool and some accessories. So I used leatherworking, tailoring, and blacksmithing to make these 3. So you have finesse, deftness, and perception, and then perception. So perception increases your ability to spot rare herbs while gathering. That is important, because trying to get those last 25 points without getting some of the larger, farming some of the larger herbs will take you forever. Deftness increases gathering speed. I have 14% because I also took deftness in some of the specializations. I have all 3 specializations unlocked now. I mostly focused on bountiful harvests and a little bit on botany. And then finesse, you have a chance to gather more of the primary region found here. So a little bit of percentage seems to go a long way. So that being said, I had the same profession tools on both my rogue and my druid. So on my rogue, I went around, made a couple circles around Hollowfall. If you avoid the areas here and kind of over here where the Hollowfall event or the Nightfall event is happening, you pretty much can just fly around and farm. I mainly was noticing like this kind of lower left side here. Hover close to kind of the mountains as you would with mining, I noticed. Or usually you find herbs like around water as well. So kind of up here, kind of where the sacred flame is, like where the water areas are. I was finding some up there, but mostly just kind of this lower left side was where I was noticing I was stopping more often. And then on my druid is where I kind of hit my stride with this. So The upper right-hand side has quite a bit of mobs. You have the dungeon and, you know, the area around that. You can see like the very top part I haven't even discovered yet. I didn't even go up there. I tried going kind of along the coast, like I said, around the water, and what I ended up figuring out was if you come to where Donegal is, and then kind of make a line just straight across to the river, and then just kind of go around in a clockwise, um, you can just do that until you max out Herbalism. And I was noticing, ironically, there were quite a few other druids that were also making that route, among other players, but there were quite a few druids. Because druid gets to stay in flight form while we gather, so there is a benefit to doing any type of leveling a gathering profession. Because mining is the same thing; you'll stay in your flight form. So and that made things a lot easier. But it will gray out around 75, which does take you a minute. So I need to buy some vials first. So this Mycobloom is by far the most common one you will find. So you'll have plenty of that. As you see, I have almost 400. I've done a little bit of trying to level inscription that did not go all that well. So, but I would like to make some potions for my rogue, as I said. So we will get 25. That should be good for a start. See how far we get with that. And then that only gets me 5. Oh, I see, because it takes 5 vials to... Okay. Would have helped if I had paid attention to begin with. So that'll be 10, 15. I at least wanted to try to make 20.
My thanks for your patronage.
Okay. So, and I'm not going to bother using concentration because it's 3.5, 3.6, 3.5 is perfectly fine. I'm not going to waste that on this. I did go and do the Dragonflight quest to get the Alchemist robe. Yeah, so I do have that. I need to level inscription further to make anything else, and yeah, this is probably going to be about the extent of what I'm going to do. So I at least wanted something. So that'll give me resourcefulness, so chance to use fewer regents, so fewer herbs and all that. And then increasing crafting speed. Not really worried about the crafting speed. I mean, it's not that slow to begin with, but multi-craft would have been better, or something else, but it is what it is. So we will make 20 of these. Okay, and that made 100, so that should keep me well stocked through probably the most of the War Within and into midnight. So yeah, depending on how much I do on my rogue. And that barely used any herbs, so yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at the specialties. So alchemy, mastery. Master your abilities to experiment with various flora found in Kazalzar. Master the arts of flask. Crafting technique using Kazalgar. Okay, flask could be good. And master the subtle art of potion making via techniques from Kazalgar. And then master the art of transmuting materials into other substances. So that can be quite lucrative depending on what expansion you're in and what you're transmuting. So, well, the main thing would be flask. So let's right. Reduce the risk, increase benefits from experimenting with herbs, improve chance to discover new, create regions for combinations of herbs, increase your skill. Just concentration, okay. Craft additional soulbound flasks once per day. Learn to craft flask cauldrons, increase your multi-craft. Okay. I almost feel like the first one's more worth setting up first because you get some additional benefits that help you with the others. I would like to do flasks though. What is my actual skill at? Because I can unlock another one at 50. I'm at 25. Yeah. Experiment with various regions. Okay. Very tempting to do flasks, but mastery might be better. May have to look into that further. So what? Let me look and see what I unlocked from the trainer.
Speak and be heard.
Okay, and multi-crafting you. Finishing crafting region. Okay, but I don't think that applies to creating. Oh, it does. Interesting. Okay. Never really used any of the with all the professions I leveled in Dragonflight when they changed the UI and everything. Never actually used any of the bonus regions. Just not a big profession person. So you get a ton of them. Oh yeah, there we go. I mean, you get a ton of things to use for crafting, but it's never really been
May the Titans carve
my thing
your
all that
hand.
much. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much just as far as I'm gonna go. That was kind of all I wanted to do for the moment. So I would like to be able to make flasks, because a lot of the flasks, if you make them correctly, they'll persist through death. So at some point, I think that might be using relative ingredients. Okay, so I really need to do need to look into the experimenting thing then. Okay, so I wanted to get the appearance for the, what is it, the Fail Hunter. So I want to get that, and in order to do that, you have to come to Return of Karazhan, kill the Mana Devourer, and then loot a book. So, how I got here is you come in. Where are we here? Yeah, you come in the entrance, wherever the entrance is here. And you have to do the opera event. I think you have to do the opera event regardless of what else you do. And then I went ahead and killed Midnight, which did not drop. And then you have to kill Morose. Now, this is where I made a bit of a mistake. I've been running around here for the last several minutes. Lost for the most part. I had a short cutscene RP event, and then there are keys on the floor that you can loot. You need to loot those. That seem, at least for me, to open all the locked doors, which got me to the second, the upper levels of Karazhan. So, don't know if you need to defeat all the bosses. I went ahead and defeated all the bosses because I wasn't sure. And I was just kind of running around, lost, as I said. So, once you pick up the keys, go back to the entrance, take the stairs, and just follow it around. So I've already killed the Curator and then the Mana Devourer. That's the seems to be the only prerequisite for this. So at level 80, you should have no problem doing this. I've been one-shotting bosses. Take that back. I killed the Curator and Medivh. I was going to say I killed Medivh and just kept on running. I didn't even stop. So I can just one-shot him. Like I should be able to one-shot the boss here. There we go. And then I'm told what I saw was you had to go up the spiral staircase, which I believe is over here.
It couldn't have been helped, you know. We tried to alter it, but it was all part of a larger scheme.
I know. All part of a greater cycle. A cycle that now at last may be broken.
Yeah, I've been getting all of the cutscenes and all of that, so can I go up these? I can't, okay. Veil Hunter is probably one of the pets I use the most, especially outside of what is it? Demonology. There we go. Where you have the Felguard. So, and I think it's right there. I think it's sparkling right there. And there you go.